Here's another gem from the scriptures I trust will bless your heart and life. It comes from Colossians chapter 3 and verse 23, which I know you all know this verse. I really like Colossians. The verse reads, "And whatsoever ye do, do it heartily, as to the Lord, and not unto men." It's interesting to note that in the context of this verse, and you all know I like to consider the context the verse is placed in, Paul mentions how wives, husbands, fathers, and slaves are supposed to act. And our verse is a summation of all that he is telling these believers how to live. Now, I'd like to focus on the word heartily. This word in the English is an adverb and is looking like it is describing the type or the quality of whatsoever you're doing. Like how good are we at doing it, or doing it with enthusiasm, sincerity, or a large amount of feeling? That's what an adverb describes. However, the Greek word translated heartily is not an adverb. It's a noun. And it's not the Greek word for heart, which is cardia, which speaks of feelings. It's the Greek words eksukis, which means out of the soul, or out of our life. Out of our soul, we are to do whatsoever we do for the Lord. The soul is the life that we now live in the flesh. It's our entire life. And what Paul is saying here is that our entire life, our whole life, should be about doing what the Lord wants for us to do every day, every moment of our lives. It's also interesting to note that the two words translated do are completely different Greek words. The first do, as in whatsoever ye do, is the Greek word poiete, which means to make. So the beginning of this verse is saying, whatsoever ye make out of your life. The second do in this verse is the Greek word ergazazeate. I think I'm saying that right, which is a form of the Greek word ergo, which means to work or to accomplish or to bring something about, or even to make it to be. And this is saying to accomplish or make it to be for the Lord. Now, putting all this together, Paul sums up his instructions on how to live our lives by saying, whatever you make of your entire life, make it to be as if you're doing it for the Lord and not to men. Wow. That puts a whole new slant on the meaning of this verse. Our entire life should be a constant, never-ending accomplishing of what the Lord wants us to do. That's how we should be living our lives, our entire lives. Make it to be as if you're doing it for the Lord. That's what Paul is saying here. Not a feeling, but our life. Paul says the same things in Ephesians 6:6, where he says, not with eye service as men pleasers, but as servants of Christ, doing the will of God out of the heart. Again, the word heart here is out of the soul, out of your life, doing the will of God out of our entire being or life. We are not here to give God an hour every week or a day or two every week. It's not just about Sunday. It's every day and every minute of every day. Wow, that's complete surrender of our lives to God. And he deserves that we present our lives a living sacrifice to the Lord, which is reasonable or logical that we serve the Lord this way. Romans 12, verse 1. Knowing all that God has done for us, it is the least we can do to live our lives a constant accomplishing for the Lord, setting aside what we want for what God wants. This is what Paul is saying. This is what God is saying to us. I must admit that I fall far short of this instruction, and I am thankful for God's grace in this regard. Wow, what a gem from the scriptures this is, and a reminder what our lives should be.